It's strictly yeah.
At Smashomi Corporation, we believe in innovation. Humanity has problems. Smashomi Corporation does what it can to keep humanity moving on the path of progress. 100 years from now, will you be one of the many to proudly tell your children you had the sensibility to break the chains of the mundane and recalculate your moral compass? I think you will. Smashomi Corporation, inventor of the bacon soft drink. Drink deliciously.
Just gonna tell you what I have set up here. Uh, this is a 800 by 800 pixel canvas that I'm working with. And this canvas, I normally use it when I'm doing my other drawings for like the cartoon style study that I'm doing that I've had on pause for a while. I'll be picking that up tonight or tomorrow. And I use this because it's fairly big and fairly small because it's just the right size for my illustration because I don't really do those huge drawings like people would normally do. And if I do them, it would take me a longer while because I'm a small drawing kind of person. But I don't try to stick with that. I actually try and get myself to come out of my comfort zone and just use a bigger canvas, which is what I have over here ready for the background design, but this is going to be explained later. Sorry. Moving on, to me, my preferred brush setting would be between 6 being the smallest because I have my pressure sensitivity on, and I'm using a graphics tablet, obviously. And what I do is I select the highest I want the brush in thickness to go. Let me try 16. Nope. It's way too high for me. Try 13, I guess. 13 is an unlucky number. Alright, let me just make it be 10. Whoops. 1 digit extra, okay. So yeah, that's supposed to be good enough for me, but even though I feel that it's still a little too big. Alright, I'll just stick with 8. Yeah, that's good for me. I like the hard brushes, and I only use the soft ones if I'm on the eraser really. So just gonna use the hard brush. So that's size 8 brush on hard with pressure sensitivity on. Normally I have 3 layers, which is sketch, ink, and color, just the basic. And I would normally add different layers for like shading and stuff or use a clip mask, but that's for later. I don't really consider those important at this stage. So I'm just gonna go ahead and sketch in this thing, and yeah, just gonna play the music and start sketching some ideas for bacon soda. I just call it bacon soda because who says soft drinks anymore? I think only the British would say that, but yeah, it's bacon soda. Just keep it basic, yeah. So I don't know why I have this here, but it will help me somewhat. So that's what I managed to grab.
Let's do this!
Bacon, we gotta have some bacon. Bacon, don't be tight with the bacon.
Give me some of it.
What's that? Run the cakes, cakey bacon. You're a vegetarian, not now, boom pig. Bacon on my plate, not gonna last too much longer. I'm gonna eat you all up, you salty little pig strip. Bacon, we gotta have some bacon.
session.
I was fooling around on YouTube and I saw this animated short called Skyrim Bear, and the background design immediately caught my eye because it's just a simple, sketchy look to it, and the little textures that they'd add to it is just simple shading and very, very, very light stuff. Like I don't even see much outline happening because really too much or too heavy outline will take away from the characters itself, and you really don't want to distract your viewers and confuse their eyes really. So the heavy outline is really for the characters, and the background is really supposed to complement them and not overpower them. So it's very important to pay attention to your background in the sense that it doesn't overpower your characters and it's functioning but not overpowering. So in tonight's session, going through Ed and Eddie's style that you see here, it's very simple, just the outlines, and the character would have been colored as you can see here. This is regular show where the outlines are very light, just like the character, but slightly lighter with some watercolor coloring going on. Not too much, just enough to highlight where they are. Back to Ed and Eddie's style, you have the heavy outline and this really childish coloring really, so it's not really within the lines, and it's very interesting to observe the Ed and Eddie's style of background. Again, what I favor, and this is what the reference I'll be working with, is the fact that they can get away with such simple coloring, and it really works. So yeah, if you're ever unsure about background designing, it doesn't have to be perfect. I keep saying that all the time because it's true, and just like in this Sanjay and Craig, everything is flat and complementing, and you have regular show again where the outline is heavy but it's not overpowering the characters themselves. This one is cow and chicken, and it's not really heavy in terms of outline, but the colors are just blending and working. And you know, just focus on what you want to hint in your background and it should work. Okay, now our next activity, which is our main activity, is the whole background design. But I'm looking for some reference images for my background style in here. Okay, Ed and Eddie, I'll go with this. So yes, so basically I'll be using the Ed and Eddie style. So what I'm gonna do is turn down the opacity of this thing so that I can see exactly what I need to be drawing. Right? Now, we're not tracing, but what I'm going to be doing is sketching the props, well, redrawing some of these items for placement in my background. So I have a cactus, which I'll place here for the time being. So then open another one and we'll do window. Alright, I'm best at drawing from reference, so for this part, if there are items in the sample photo that you've downloaded from a cartoon and you don't know how to draw the image, you can source a realistic image, because that would be a big help, and use that as just to get an idea of how the item looks in real life, so you can know how to simplify it for a cartoon. So if we turn this off, you'll see that those are the items that we have so far. So I'm gonna put the window aside again. Let's try the hanging ornament, and that's this thing right here. You can put your own twist to it, so I'm just going to do a basic light switch, something like this, and just do that to it. But you know, to put your own stuff to it, and it doesn't have to be perfect. It's all dependent on the cartoon style you're following. But I won't follow it exactly, so maybe I'll just do something like this, just to mimic the texture of the thing. So yeah, and that would have been hung up somewhere else. Oh, I like the edit and edit style because it allows you to just literally sketch out stuff that you want to put in there. So even the little frame that's hanging on the wall, which is here, what we can do with this, alright, we have to pay attention to the perspective because it is going at an angle like this, right? So what I'm going to do is take note of that, since I'm going to be recreating this space. Make sure that it's going right. But even if it's not, I could just warp it or something, but it's not good to be lazy. So yeah, we're gonna be putting this one side as well. I'll turn these off so I can see. So continuing, I'm going to attempt to draw one of these chairs. Won't be the best looking chair. I just consider edit and edit to be like a really horribly simplified drawing. So it shouldn't even take much effort out of me to do this. So yeah. Hi Kevin. Thanks for joining. Oh, okay. Well, I'm actually doing the stage 1 of the background design process.
Okay.
And I just doing prop by prop so that I could just place it in the environment after I've set up the perspective, because that's how I found it easier for me.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I'm just selecting, I'm not really using all the images, but I'm just selecting different props that I'd use to recreate the space. So far I've just drawn the window and the cactus, just some little things that are there. And I'll just be placing them in the environment, just as a demonstration. But the real background design I'll be doing, this is not it. It's just something that I'm using as a demo to show how I'd go about it.
Alright, I'm gonna take off because I just want to talk to see what's going on.
Yeah, and thanks for dropping in.
Hello!
What? You scared me. What's going on? Oh, hi Anna.
What are you doing? Is this your background on top of a background? Background
Well,
section?
what I'm actually doing is just designing the props separately, because that's how I find it easier. So that all I'd have to do is put the room itself in perspective and then drop these items in it.
Oh, so it's gonna be like Tom and Jerry when you know what objects are gonna
Yeah.
touch because it's
So like this, it's very easy because normally people would do everything at once and do the perspective and the items all at once.
Yeah.
But it's easier if you do it where you separate, you just design the props and just place them in a space. After you've drawn the perspective for that space, you just kind of just drop them and warp them into it. But that's why I find it easier for me, because this is gonna go at the top like so. Window is probably over there. I'm just redesigning the space. I'm not really copying it. So I'm just seeing where I want to put stuff. And all these weird stuff. But it's not much. But this is not the actual background design I'm going to be doing. Where is that shelf? Oh. Ta-da! My bookshelf. Close enough. Where is this random chair? I need a table. No. The frame.
There's a picture right there, yeah.
Yeah, I could just drop this like right here. But yeah, it's simple. I'd probably even just have to put a table like right here. And just like that. Legs.
Awesome table.
Yeah, and then this would be the wall. I guess. No, then yeah, the wall is where the shelf sits.
Yeah.
That. Yeah. That's redesigning the space. Okay.
Are you using Photoshop?
Yep.
What is that thing?
This is the style for Ed, Ed and Eddie. So this is all this wiggly wobbly drawing that you see happening here. That's the style for their background. You notice nothing is really it's in perspective. That they just do it to suggest that hey, this is where they are. That kind of background design. Okay guys, so right here I'm just laying down the perspective guidelines and making sure that I can place all my props properly. While you're doing this, it's important to make sure that you're not too concerned about whether or not it's going to come together, because really you're just trying to get an idea of placement and how you want to view a particular scene. Todo! So with that in mind, you are to just lay out the perspective you choose to use, and I chose to use a corner, and I'm just doing a bathroom quick sketch, keeping in mind the reference that I had used, which would be Ed, Ed and Eddie. That's the style I'm working with. And at this point I was concerned about the perspective of the objects I was using and if I was placing them correctly, but being that this would be the first time in a long time that I've been attempting background design, it's not too bad for something that I've picked up just now. So I'm just trying to decide on a color for the curtains and all the other objects, and it's really difficult because I'm not really good at coloring, because for some reason I prefer to see the sketch and the inking as against a finished colored thing, but you know, it's all about preference. But hopefully in another session we'll be covering color and how to use proper lighting. So guys, thanks for watching, even though it wasn't much of you tonight, and I'm completely finished with my stuff and I'll be doing more practice, so be sure to join us for our next live drawing session. For those of you who stayed, Anna, thanks so much for joining, and Kevin, even though you spent a short amount of time, I appreciate you stopping by and stuff. So yeah, thanks you guys, and that's the end of our live session.